Hello, friends. Hi, how are you? Happy New Year and happy new decade. Isn't that cool? It's like a fresh new start. Everything just, yeah. My name is Shannon and this is Whiskey and Wool. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Whiskey and Wool, and I'll put the spelling online on Instagram. I am wool with 4 O's in the word wool instead of just 2. And yeah, Whiskey and Wool on Ravelry as well. I want to welcome new viewers and returning viewers alike. I hope you enjoy spending a little time with me. Thank you so much for checking me out and seeing if I am your cup of tea or whiskey. I have so much to cover today. I made notes and I don't have my notebook, so there's going to be a cut in here where I go get it at some point. I'm not going to do any whiskey chat today because it is Friday afternoon and I'm going to New York City probably as soon as I'm done recording, and I just wanted to, I'm driving, so I wanted to be a safe driver. So I am coming to you from northern New Jersey, and I wanted to talk with you first. Oh, I have a tiny bit of whiskey chat that doesn't include me drinking whiskey. There's a new movie. It's newish. I guess it's from 2018 on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can rent it, I guess, if you don't have Prime. But if you have Prime, it's free. And it's called Whiskey, A Golden Dream. I think that's it. If it's not that, I will change it. But it is super thorough. It is, I think it's a documentary, and it's about an hour and a half long. I'm about halfway through it. It is really well done. It really digs into the history and the making of whiskey in a much better job than I could ever do. And they interviewed a lot of key players in the Scotch whiskey industry, and the 2 distilleries that I got to see when I was there in March are in it and featured in it. And there's one that I remembered being at the I want to say it's Glengoyne is the distillery we were at, where they had what happens through time as the whiskey ages in the barrel in terms of color and how much it evaporates. So that I remembered seeing that in one of the tours we went on, and it was really, really interesting to see. Because whiskey, when it first comes out, is clear. When it first is distilled, it's clear. It's not till it goes in the barrel that it actually gets color. Just FYI. So that's my whiskey chat. I'm going to jump right into my wool and my knitting and spinning and my makes. I am wearing a new design designed by me. It is a sport weight or a heavy fingering weight, what I call a layering tee. I'll put a picture in here of me wearing it. You saw it last time. It was a finished object in my last episode, in my last full episode, and I just felt like putting it on today for my trip to New York. It's just super cozy and warm, and I cannot wait to be making more of these. My plan is to, it is as yet unnamed. I will come up with a snazzy little name, I think, for it. If you have any ideas, please tell me. And I'm planning to do a sort of build your own adventure type pattern where you'll be able to choose. I'm going to make 3 different variations for myself, and you'll be able to choose how you want to combo those up, those different variations, or bring your own inspiration to the pattern. So I think it'll be a really cool pattern, and it'll be a very broad range of sizes, starting somewhere in the low 30s, maybe at 30, going up to at least a 60 or 64 bust measurement. So I'm hoping it will suit many different body types. If this is your type, this will fit you. I have to spend time at some point, not this episode, but at some point discussing pattern pricing and just for designers and all of that, and my ideas on what I think I'm going to do moving forward. I'll talk about it probably not in my next episode, because if you can believe it, my next episode will actually be a Vogue Knitting Live recap, because Vogue is in 2 weeks. It's early this year, so I am not ready. I felt so sort of down when I figured out that it was only in 2 weeks. So I thought I had an extra week in there, and I still have stuff I'm planning to make, and I don't think I'm going to get everything done now, but I'll talk to you about that in a sec. I'm going to do a lot of talking in this video. But first let me get through my whips. So I have over Christmas, I spent a lot of time working on this sweater right here that Myrtha's wearing. And you can see I'm pretty close to finishing. I have a little bit of the sleeve. I probably have about 3/4 of a sleeve left over here. It is by a Japanese designer. Let me give you all of the stats on this. Japanese designer. So it is called the achikochi. Aki. I'm not really sure. I'm sure you'll tell me because you guys are so good at correcting me. Okay. So, and it's by Eri Shimuzi. I'm saying it very slowly because I'm not really sure. Anyway, I'll pop a picture, her picture on screen. I probably already did of it. Hers is gray and black. I decided to do gray and red. I am knitting it out of, the gray is this beautiful yarn that I bought in Edinburgh at EYF in March, Lammermuir Wool. It's a Scottish fingering weight yarn that is, I think it all comes in natural colors if I remember right. And it is a Shetland primarily with a little bit of Romney, and it is the softest yarn ever. Like, I love it. This is what I have left of my second skein, so I will be dipping into my third skein a little bit. But I'm going to have a lot of that left. It's 437 yards. I'll probably have 3 and change left. Because a lot of the sleeve, as you can see, is the contrast color. The fit of this is, it's meant to sort of be a boxy and hang around your hip style. If you decide you want to knit this too, let me finish telling you about the yarn, then I'll tell you about the pattern. The red is my own hand spun. I've knit it from, I spun it from SpinCityUK's colorway Punjabi. It's a orange and red primarily with a lot of black bat, and it has little bits of silk sari in there that like give you pops of color of blue and green and purple, along with the red and black and hot pink that you get from the merino. So this was really fun to spin, and it looks like I'm going to use up quite a nice amount of it. What else can I tell you? So about the pattern, what I realized, and I think you can really see it here, there were a couple choices that I made, and then also that were pattern related, that have, I think in blocking like fixes everything, right? At least that's sort of my philosophy. All this puckering that you're seeing up here and the curling of the neck will all straighten out in blocking. So this is kind of curling downward. But you start right off the bat with this woven looking stitch that you do for the neck trim, and then you continue working that woven stitch in different parts. Like, so this is actually knit in color work, but this is a woven stitch, and then there's some other, like that's a woven stitch there too, and there's some texture in there. So, and then it's woven down here too. I wish it was more of regular color work, because what happens is that really creates, like, I think you can really see it. It creates a little bit of a lack of stretch so that it's not as springy. I needed to be a little more cognizant of the fact that those woven stitches were going to pull in and keep the knit firm. So if I were to stretch it, I have a lot more stretch here than I do right there. I think you can really see it there. So see that versus that. So that was a little bit of a bummer, I'd say. Like, I think it'll be okay, and I think it'll hang fine. The second thing that happened was that my handspun is a lot thinner, and I think you can see it there, than the body color. And so that created some strange, it's fine in the color work, but when it got to this part here, where I did the ribbing bottom and the rib cuff, it created some strangeness. Like, so when I did, she has you knit the entire thing in one size needle. So I did the same size needle here, and I wished I went smaller. Even though, like, I do think it is meant to hang away. It's not meant to hug you tight like a regular ribbing. It's meant to sort of drape and hang straight. And I think it will hang straight once I block it. With the rib cuff over here, I went down 2 needle sizes to get a little bit more of a rib-like cuff. Because the other thing that she has you do on the sleeve is that it doesn't fit the way this sleeve does. So this sleeve has, I don't know, 12 or so decreases, starting at the armpit where you pick up stitches for the sleeve and going all the way down. It has many decreases until you finally get down to this very snug fitting cuff. That cuff doesn't fit like that. That cuff is more open. The decreases stop about the elbow and then just go, it goes straight. So if you imagine like you had a sweater where the width fit you here with a little bit of ease, and then that ease just continues straight down. So I decided to just go with it, go with the pattern. I didn't want to mod it too much because I'm cognizant that my sweaters can have an overwhelming sameness to them, and I really wanted it to have, to be true to what the designer's vision of it was. I think that this sweater is really, what's the word? It very much captures the essence of what Japanese design and Japanese clothing and what Japanese women wear. They tend not to wear body conscious clothing, at least as far as I can tell in their everyday dress. Things tend to be a little more loose fitting and drapey, kind of like, but yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm a little worried about the neck too being a little bit too open. I don't know if you can see it. Let me give you a little boost upward. Sorry about seeing the palm of my hand. So you see how open the neck is? I think that's also part of the characteristic of this knit. I did do some short row shaping in the back to raise the back neck up because I don't really like my back neck being cold. And I did the short row shaping right here after the yoke because, as I said, you start the neck work right away. So I did a much smaller textured section here and then put a lot of short rows in here. I put about 10 rows of short rows there. And I'm not sorry. I'm glad I did it. All right, let me reposition you. There we go. So yeah, that is that pattern. This pattern has taken a backseat once I was ready to cast on a sweater, one of the sweaters from my Vogue Knitting Live, and then I was kind of working on both of them, the Vogue Knitting Live sweater and this sweater, until I realized that Vogue is coming up much more quickly than I thought, and so yeah, I got a little bummed because I had a second sweater planned for Vogue, which I still plan to make. I just don't know if it's going to be ready for Vogue. So this second whip that has been getting a lot of my work time, a lot of my crafting time, is a pattern of my own design. So I'm not going to share too much about it yet because I don't want to reveal it yet. I will show it to you after Vogue. I really would have loved to have published it ahead of Vogue, but I didn't think about it in time. I got inspired to make it about mid-December. I ordered the yarn. It came right away. I ordered it from Stephen and Penelope, and it came right away. And I think what's going to happen is that right after Vogue, I think what I want to do with my patterns, with this pattern, I'm going to try a new method. I think I'm going to put it up for sale right away, and then I'm going to offer it for free to whomever would be interested in test knitting it. So, and I don't price my patterns very high because I'm not making a living on my knitting patterns. I'm just doing it for fun. And I think this is a super unique pattern. This isn't going to appeal to everyday average knitters, but it will appeal to the more maybe fashion forward thinking knitters. I don't know why no one else has thought of this yet. Maybe someone else has, and which is why I'm a little afraid to show it. But I want it to debut at Vogue. So I will be sending it. I will be talking about it more in my Vogue Knitting Live video. So anyway, I've knit quite a lot. I'm just going to show you the back of it so you can see the yarn and the way it knits. This is a melted baby Suri from Qing Fibre. So here's sorry, her labels are really hard to see. I hope she changes them again because this white on gray, though very chill and classic, is hard to read for people like me with old eyes. So you can see it's melted baby Suri, 65% baby Suri alpaca, 25% superwash merino, and 10% silk. The colorway is called Aurora. And I bought it from Stephen and Penelope, and I talked about that in my last video, that experience. It was a really awesome experience. I got the yarn in 2 days. I ordered it on a Sunday and it arrived on a Tuesday, which was just bananas to me. Like, I can't get yarn that fast from around me unless I actually go and pick it up. But yeah, so I'm knitting away. The colors are super bright. I had said last episode that I wasn't sure if this is a sweater I would wear other than to Vogue, but I'm okay with that. I do have I think I have it right here. I have a trim planned that's going to be knit out of this color right here, so it's quite bright. It's a brighter pink than the pink in this, but I think it's going to hold its own because I think the pink and orange next to each other are so popping that I think it's going to be important for, this will be cuffs and ribs, rib bottom. So I think it's going to be important that this can hold its own against this. So very excited. I have way more yarn than I need. I can tell that already because I am, you see 2 strands because I am alternating skeins. I don't really even think I needed to. I think the skeins are dyed pretty evenly. I just was concerned about pooling. I did get a little bit of pooling, which I like. So you could see it there. I don't mind that. I was hoping that as I knit this, that it would look sort of like abstract flowers. So I really wanted that sort of impact. I think I'm still being influenced by Gerard Richter's show, the show that I saw for Mother's Day. And I talked about that. I said every knit designer should be seeing Richter's show because it was so inspiring in terms of his color usage and patterns and stuff. But this very much reminds me of the Gerard Richter art show that showed at MoMA at the Shed in Hudson Yards in New York City this past spring. I'm not sure if it went on in other places. I hope it did because more people needed to see it. But anyway, I bought 6 skeins of the melted baby Suri, and I will be surprised if I get into the 5th skein. I think I'm going to be good with 4, but who knows. I am making a pretty big sleeve for this sweater. More on that later though. You'll see the whole design in my next episode. I'll probably be wearing it and I'll talk a lot about it. I hope to have it named by then. I hope to have it at least like the draft published, ready for testing for those who are interested, because I'm hoping to generate interest when I'm at Vogue. We'll see. I'm drinking David's tea. It's guava something, but it was on sale. I think they're closing it out because I think it's left over from summer. I'm gonna hit their closeout sale, their David's tea closeout sale. Okay, I have one more make. It's spinning. So I haven't done any other knitting. Oh, I did finish 4 ripple bralettes for people for Christmas, and I finished the 2 racerbacks, which you saw. You saw the sets that I made, but then I made 2 additional ripple bralettes. I don't have them with me because they were gifted, and I also didn't even really take good pictures of them, so I have nothing to show for those. But those were 2 other finished objects that happened from my last episode to this episode. Okay, now let's talk about spinning, because this is also meant to be my second Vogue Knitting Live sweater. I don't think I'm going to get it done because I'm still spinning the yarn. So I got a fiber box, which I opened on my Vlogmas, from Stitch Together Studio. That's the label right there. And the colorway was called Yule. You could see the mix blend. You see all the content right there. It was pretty varied in terms of its content. And this is what it looks like. So it's not incredibly Christmassy. It's more like kind of springy Miami Vice-ish, because it's got that teal green and bright pink in it. I got 2 bats, so 2 4-ounce bats, and I was thinking about this sweater this yarn, and I was thinking like, well, 4 8-ounces is almost a sweater's quantity for me. I could do like a more short, maybe something, like this. That would be a sweater's quantity. But I thought I couldn't get this out of my head that I really thought like it would make an amazing as-if tee. So I have 1 skein done. So I took 1 bat and already made 1 skein. I did it pretty quickly. This is my first 3-ply. So I don't know if you can see all the plies. There you go. Yeah, I think you can see them there. But I am so happy with the way this came out. This is so pretty. It's exactly what I thought it would be. Well, actually, no, that's not exactly true. Because I did think that there'd be a lot more pink than there is. I didn't really color manage it at all. I just let it sort of go. I pulled from the bat. I made the bat into small pieces and then just pulled from it over and over. So I have like pink sections and green sections and some white sections. I guess it's kind of showing up as gray on there, but it is on screen. But it is more on the white side, which I guess it's a gray toned white. Maybe you see it better there. And there is some sparkle in there. I think you can see it, but very little. Like it's not overwhelmingly sparkly. But yeah, I think this will make an amazing as-if tee. I'm very happy about that idea, and I thought it would look really cool under that sweater because the colors are similar. But I don't think I'm going to get it done now. I think I need to concentrate on that sweater on my first sweater, and if I can finish this, I can finish this. I mean, the one thing I can say about the Melted Baby Suri is that it knits like a DK. So it's a thicker knit. I had to go up quite a few needle sizes over what I thought I would be able to use with that. And the thing about the as-if tee, so I did a 3-ply so that I would get close to a worsted weight, which I think I pretty much got there with this yarn. The as-if tee also knits pretty fast. You only need about 500 yards or so to knit it. This skein is about 280, so I'm halfway there. And it's just like, it's the spin part. If it was just knitting, I could say, I think I'd make it, but I also must spin the second skein. But I did buy some mohair. This is my first 2020 purchase, but I purchased with intention. So I bought myself some white mohair. I ended up going with this company, Ito Sensei. Well, come on, camera. Come on. It says Sensei. It doesn't know whether to focus on me or on Myrtha or the yarn. Okay, there we go. well, we had it. So what you can't read there, it says 60-40. So it's a 60-40 blend. It's 60% mohair, 40% silk. I went with this one because I knew I only needed 25 grams. And this is 20 grams. So I needed less than 200 yards to do the top part of the as if tee. So, yeah, this was only 20 grams. So it was like enough yardage, and it was half the price of what the ones from either Neighborhood Fiber Company or what's the other brand? Shibui? Shibui, yeah. So the Shibuis are bigger. So it was cheap. It was $16. I got it from Brooklyn General Store, and they shipped it quickly because Brooklyn's right across the river from me. But so that will have a white mohair top, which I just think will look so cute. So cute. Really, really want this done. So that'll probably be on my needles pretty quickly. Okay. So that's all my makes. How am I doing on time? I'm going to show you my acquisitions as well. I'm just going to kind of, if you weren't watching my Vlogmases, because I know not everyone who watches my regular episodes watch my Vlogmases, I'm just going to give you a quick recap of my Advents. So I got a Advent mini from Sweet Nesting. It's a lot of pink. Mine was a lot of pink. I don't think everyone's was a lot of pink. I don't think she makes all the Advents equal. Like, so it's not like she makes this bright pink right here and that goes into every single Advent. Because I noticed that some other people who had laid out all their skeins didn't have their skeins did not look exactly like mine. I have used one mini already. I'd used it in a ripple bralette. It turns out 2 minis equal a ripple bralette. So I pulled one and I paired it with a mini that I had from someone else from a purchase that was quite a while ago. But anyway, I now have 23 20-gram minis of sock yarn. No idea what I'm going to do with it. No idea. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll think of something. I also got what I would guess is about 500 grams of fiber from Le Petite Potions in my fiber advent calendar. So both of these were a daily calendar that you opened. That's not all the fiber. I have another bag that is the same, similar size. So what I think I'm going to do, since it's so much, it's more than enough for a sweater. What I definitely want to do is make one sweater out of most of that. And then after that, I may even be able to get 2 sweaters if I do a short sleeve one. So I'm going to be color managing those fiber bumps pretty actively. So I just haven't got to the point where I'm ready to do that because I'm doing other spinning right now. So that'll be something that I'll work on later. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to playing around with those because the variety of spin that I'm going to get from spinning those will be just amazing. Oh, and the Sweet Nesting fiber calendar came on the 25th. I got this full skein of rainbow, which is amazing and beautiful. This rainbow skein. It's a single ply, but I love rainbow skeins for particularly for gift knitting, so that's awesome. I also got a braid from the fiber on the 25th day of the fiber, which I'm gonna have to go get. So there's gonna be a pause right now. Merry Christmas. So this is a fiber braid that is, I think it's 100 grams, and it's merino and silk. It's pretty cool. I probably will keep this separate from the little bumps that I have for a while, at first, just to, maybe I'll pair it with some of the paler ones. I don't know. I have to really think. I want to think about that. But I have plenty of other things to spend because I really loaded up on fiber. I had very little fiber going into Rhinebeck, and I loaded up on fiber at Rhinebeck, as well as this fiber club, and then I joined 2 other fiber clubs. 2 more yarn acquisitions. I got a Krampus box from Krampus themed box from Knitting is Metal, and she paired up with wool and vinyl. So this is pretty. Kind of reminds me of this. I got 2 skeins. I didn't remember. I don't know if I bought a double box. I don't remember. But it was something that I bought so long ago. But yeah, 2 skeins. I have a feeling they're more similar than they look right here. This color is called I'm gonna just put it Krampusnacht. And it is a 80-20 merino nylon sock blend. It would make amazing socks for a man, I think, in particular. It's kind of masculine looking to me. But I had not heard of this yarn dyer before, but I will be checking her out in the future for sure. All right. One more. I got a project bag. I don't think I showed this last time. If I did, I'll cut this out. I got a project bag with unicorns on it from Beautiful Sisters. So it's that origami style project bag. I had bought one from them at the Knit Bazaar at Rhinebeck, on Rhinebeck weekend. So it does one of these is cute. So it's a handle, and then it also has a handle for holding while you like looping over your arms. You can knit and walk, which I do like to do, especially in warm weather. And you can also make a yarn bowl out of it by putting the strap over that way, which I really like. And there's a cute little pocket inside. So it is really, really adorable. So there is that as well. Okay, so now we get to the part where I talk to you about 2020. Oh, sorry, not yet. I forgot to share with you these beautiful, beautiful socks that I got. So these socks, these were part of a sock swap that I did with a viewer named Jackie. I sent her a skein of yarn, and I sent her a little mini. This is what's left of the yarn and the mini. And she sent me back 2 pairs of socks, and she wanted to surprise me with a second mini of her own choice out of her stash. So that was really cool. And I love how different they look. Like when you put them next to each other, they look similar, but when you just look at this sock, I really noticed the pink with this, and with this one I really noticed the browns. Not weird. Same yarn. Next to each other they look the same, but yeah. So that was really cool. So these arrived, and she has invited me to send her more yarn and send her more. So this was a sock swap. Just to recap quickly, this was a sock swap that I did a skill swap, I guess is probably the better way to say it, where I sent some handspun and a skein of yarn for sock knitting and got back socks. So Jackie got to keep the handspun and then sent me back the socks. The sock yarn, if you're interested, it was from Knox Yarn Company. It's an old stash that I've had for a couple years. The color is called Willow of the Wisp, and it is, I don't think she calls it Flora sock anymore, but it's a mohair superwash nylon blend. So I'm really interested to see how these wear. I have worn them, but I haven't washed them yet. I just wanted to show them to you before I did any washing and changed them too much. So yeah, that is so that she's invited me to send more, so I will definitely be doing that. I'm going to be working on a spin for her once Vogue is over and sending that out. So hi Jackie, if you're watching. You should be getting the yarn sometime after Vogue, so hopefully before the end of January. So yeah, I'm excited. I love the socks. They're so amazing. Yay. Thank you. Okay. So I have realized that, I don't know, like this New Year's really kind of grabbed me in terms of getting into that, like, time to review what you've been doing and what you're doing. Not so much career-wise, because my career is very much established and there's not really anywhere for me to go career-wise, other than just stay where I am and continue to just improve some of the things that are going on in my university, and I'm done building my career. So it's not that. I don't have that to think about. My partnership is good. It's healthy, and we're, moving along, and my kids are grown. So it's funny, like this time around, I really thought a lot about just the other parts of my life that usually don't get a lot of attention because, mostly we're so focused on our families and on our careers that we don't really think too much about the other stuff. So I've been doing a lot of like contemplative thoughts just about what I want to do with my craft life, like, and how I want to manage some of the things that I'm going to be doing in over this next year in terms of my craft and in terms of this channel and in terms of social media in general, and what really do I want to do. I don't have the answers yet. That's still a work in progress. But what I did do was decide to do the Stashdown 2020 that Brown Girly Knits has created. And it's pretty simple. Like, I'll flash a picture on screen here of the way that the rules that she has. They're easy to follow if you have a lot of stash like I do. And then what I did, instead of doing a make 9, I went through and just wrote down the things that I was thinking about. I mean, I have most of them queued up, but I don't have everything like queued up in my Ravelry queue, but I don't have everything paired, like this yarn with that sweater. And it's just sort of like, I know when I'm ready, I'll put it together that way. I also wanted to, before I get into what I will be making, I wanted to share with you what I made for 2019. So I made 31 projects in 2019. I knit 22,546 yards of yarn, which sounds like a lot. But to compare to 2018, I actually knit more yards. In 2018, I knit 26,977 yards. So this was fewer yards. But I think the reason I knit fewer yards was because of spinning. So I now need to figure out how to see what I did spinning wise too. Because 2019, I learned how to spin. So I learned how to spin in May. I got my spinning wheel right away. And I just practiced a lot. And I'm really happy with where my spinning is right now. I'm really happy with the progress I made. So going back to my knitting, 22,546 yards. I knit 18 sweaters, 1 blanket, 6 bralettes, and 4 tank tops. 3 of those sweaters of the 18 that I knit were my own designs. They were new designs. 2 were published last year. So I just published 2 designs last year. This year it looks like I'm publishing at least 2 because I have this one to publish. This is one of the 3 that I knit, and then my one that I just showed you made out of the baby Suri. And I went into the new year into 2020 with 4 whips, 2 of which I've shown you. I have 2 whips that I have earmarked as hibernating. And then I have 2 other whips that I will be getting back around to at some point this winter. I don't want to let those lie too long. It's just gift knitting got in the way, and then also now Vogue Rhinebeck sweater knitting, gift knitting, Vogue knitting live knitting, and then it's all over. There's nothing to work for until next Rhinebeck and holiday season. So I'll have a good 6-7 months of clear time to make whatever I want. I did do a make 9 last year, and I knit 7 of those, which I can show here. I can show you quickly. But I'm not going to get into what I did exactly or what I was planning, because I've talked about all of those things on my channel. I lost interest in 2 of the sweaters for 2 different reasons. One was the pixelated pullover. I don't know why I lost interest. I think a lot of it had to do with the colors of the yarn that I chose. They're not really my colors. They're autumnal colors. And I don't know. I hung on to the yarn and the idea of knitting the pattern until the fall. And then nothing happened. I didn't knit it. I knit other things. So Yep. Oh well. Goodbye, pixelated pullover. And the second one was the White Horse pullover by Caitlin Hunter. And that sweater, I read a lot about it, and I read a lot about some of the fit issues people had, and I don't know why, like her spec doesn't work for me. So I got a little head shy over that. And I have the beautiful yarn I was planning right here. I bought it at Vogue last year. And this is going to be part of my plan. I'm going to be working with this yarn this year, coming into this year. I bought this yarn. This is Kim's Dye yarn. I'll put a picture on screen because I don't feel like grabbing it out of the bag right now. It's a DK hand dye, very beautiful tonal aqua color. I bought that before I came to the conclusion that DK weight sweaters aren't really what I want to wear. That I really want to wear fingering weight sweaters. So I have that DK weight, and I have a couple other DK weights in my stash, and once those are done, I probably won't buy any more DK weight unless there's a person in my life, or there's a design that I have to make that's DK weight, or there's some luscious yarn that I must have, and that's DK weight. So they're just a little too heavy for me. I like fingering weight. I've come to that conclusion. Okay. I've talked about that before too on the channel. So this is just kind of my 2019 recap. Now, looking ahead for 2020. Oh, I don't know how much I destashed in 2019 or how much I bought. I didn't really do that side-by-side comparison, but I'm going to keep track of that for this year. Because one of the things that I want to do with the Stashdown 2020 is that I want to knit from my stash. So I made a list of the sweater quantities of yarn that I have and came up with 12 sweaters. And I think that takes care of most of the sweater quantity. I realized, like, in making this list too, that I didn't have everything cataloged on Ravelry. And I use Ravelry a lot when I'm thinking and planning. Like, I look at Ravelry because a lot of times, like, my thoughts about what I think I want to do and what I think I want to make come to me while I'm at work or while I'm away from my house. So, because when I'm here, I'm usually, like, actively crafting and not really, I want to use my time here to actively craft, not be thinking about it. So I'll be thinking about it when I'm not here. So I open up Ravelry and take a look at what I have, and if there's a pattern that catches my eye that I really want to make, I look at what yarn I have first before I see whether or not I have to go buy more. So I really, really don't want to buy, really trying hard not to buy yarn. Like, with the rules with the Stashdown that Brown Girly Knits gives you, one of them is that you can spend up to $30 a month on yarn, or you could do it all at once, and then you get two free passes where you could buy whatever you want. So I'm hoping not to use even that $30 a month, but I do know for Vogue I probably will use a big chunk of it, and then maybe that'll be it for me. So should I tell you my list? I'll go through them quickly, I guess. So I have the new As If tee that I'm planning to make out of my current spin that I already showed you. A couple episodes back, I talked about doing the Stone Crock Pullover by Andrea Mowry, and I have the yarn. I have everything all caked and ready to go. So that's going to get on my needles very soon. I want to do something out of some purple handspun that I made. I want to do the pale Christmas sweater, the pale pastel-y Christmas sweater that I have the stranded Dye Works yarn for. I also really, really love the dragon sweater that Christy Glass wore at Rhinebeck. So I want to make, that's what I'm going to do with this turquoise. I want to make a dragon sweater out of that turquoise. I also have a lacy cardigan planned for my road to Rhinebeck. I have it right here, actually. Let's see if you can see it. That yarn right there. It's a Julie Aslin Road to Rhinebeck yarn. That's a really beautiful wool and silk blend. So I have the pattern bought. I have the yarn caked, ready to knit. I am also going to make a new Elton cardigan, Elton by Joji Locatelli, and some Game of Thrones yarn kits that I got back in the summer when Game of Thrones was ending. I got those from Stitch Together Studio. That's some of the yarn that I have not cataloged. I don't know why I didn't catalog it. I caked it right away and I got it ready to knit, but then I put it aside because I wanted to do some of those tank tops and bralettes that Jessie Maid came out with for summertime. So I put it away and I haven't gotten back around to knitting it. But it's a really, the yarn is blue toned, like navy blue, denim blue toned, and I think it'll be really beautiful and a nice year-round sweater. So I will be getting back to that. I'm also planning to make the Ripple crop top by Jessie Maid out of yarn I have ready to go and caked. This is right here, Teeny Button Studio. It's like a turquoise with some neutral brown in there. There's her label. It's her sock weight. Got to get that finished, or get that on the needles for my summertime wear. I have some gorgeous cocktail yarn by what's called cocktail yarn by John Arbin that I bought at EYF. I want to make something out of that. I had a Junko Okamoto design in mind. She came out with another design, or maybe it just caught my eye. Anyway, I've got two Junko Okamoto designs queued. I'm gonna make one or the other out of that yarn. I'm not sure which one. I want to make a new throw for my new couch, which is coming at the end of January. I've got some handspun set aside for that. That was the first big handspun that I did when I was really learning. So there's like a very interesting spread of my early spin to my last spin, because I ended up with about 8 skeins of heavy worsted / bulky yarn out of that. So that's that. I have not caked it, but I'm close to doing it. I want to make a Ursa pullover. I don't remember the name of I think it's Jacqueline. I don't remember her last name, but you know the one I mean, because I'm going to put it on screen right here with her name. In the Sea Colors purple yarn that I bought at Rhinebeck, at actually the Knitting Yarn Bazaar. And last, my 12th sweater, I want to make a sweater for one of my sons, who I'm not going to name because I have 3 and I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I'm probably going to give that to him for Christmas. I'm thinking I might do the dragon, the same dragon that Christy Glass wore. That sweater, once I make one for myself, I think I'll be able to adapt it quite easily to a sweater for him, for my son. So those are the 12 sweaters that I have planned. I also really am interested in destashing. I posted this morning about 25 skeins on my destash page on Ravelry. I looked at the website Tink Knit, and I didn't see a lot of traffic there. So for now, I'm going to post everything on Ravelry. I'm just going to leave it there with pricing and ship costs and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to see how it goes. I posted some really great stuff. If you hear tapping and stuff, it's because I have birds eating at the window feeder, and there's a woodpecker, a group of woodpeckers that come, and they're quite noisy. So yeah, I put a bunch of stuff up to destash. I'm really interested in getting my stash down, especially I have a lot of single skeins of just one skein for whatever, for like, that would be great combos for shawls, or great combos for sweaters, or great combo, or just good, wonderful socks. Even with me doing the sock swap or the skill swap with one of my viewers, or even multiple viewers, I wouldn't get through all the sock yarn, and it would end up being like, I don't know, 80 pairs of socks. Like, what am I going to do with 80 pairs of socks? So I don't want to hang on to a lot of the yarns that I have just in case. I just want to get them gone, because I'm realizing that what I'm really interested in knitting now are things that are out of my own handspun, and I have built up a pretty nice handspun stash, like handspun fiber stash. So I want to plan that way. I think I need to slow down on my crafting, and I want to take a step back and really see the full picture, and not just like hurry along to the very next thing. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Like, I'm going to be pulling more and more from fiber that I'm going to then spin and then make a pattern for, or then make a sweater out of that, instead of unless there's like some super spectacular yarn like this Shetland. Wow, I mean, this was just amazing. I love this. So, I mean, of course, I'm not going to only knit my own handspun. I'm going to knit other yarns as well, but I want to be very intentional in my purchasing. I don't want to, there's no reason for me to have, 300 skeins of just one skein in my stash. There's just not. So I'm going to send those out into the universe, and hopefully those will get picked up by people who will give them kind and loving homes. Last, since you will next see me post Vogue, and I'll do a little Vogue recap as well as talk about what I bought, my purchases, sharing my purchases. Don't expect a big haul this time around because of the Stashdown that I'm planning to do. But I do have two plans. I know Cat Sandwich Fibers will be there, and I am planning to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn from her. Because it's hard to get sweaters quantities from her, unless you find a shop that's stocking her, and she's talked about this on Instagram about changing around some of her business, the way she runs her business. So it sounds like she's going to be wholesaling less, and I don't know how it's going to change her business. But I mean, these one-woman businesses or one-person businesses of hand-dyed yarn, they have to mind their own health as well. So I respect that, and I understand that the pace at which they sometimes work is not sustainable. So I just want to take advantage. I know she's working really hard to get stuff ready for Vogue, and then she's planning to do a massive shop update after that, but I want to buy one sweater's quantity from her booth. So that is my one of my two planned shopping. Once I see, Krista Glass usually does an amazing job highlighting some of the things that you must see, must buy kind of thing on her channel. So I might change my mind, but right now I just have these two that I know I want. Cat Sandwich Fibers and then Loop Studio Fiber. I have bought loop yarn, which I have, it's over there. I have some yarn planned for a shawl design. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. Some point later on this year, maybe. It didn't make my list though, I noticed. Of course, I usually make like 30 things, so this is only 12, so I'm sure there'll be some changes. But Loop Fiber Studio, she also does what she calls fiber bullseyes. So I after Rhinebeck, I had regrets about not buying her. She makes rainbow bullseye, and I had regrets about not buying the rainbow bullseye because I realized after I left, I couldn't figure out how I would spin that. Like, how do you spin a rainbow? What do you do? And the woman in the booth gave me some ideas, but they didn't really resonate with me. But when I came home a couple weeks after the fact, I realized what I would do with it and how I would manage it. So I now want one. I want a rainbow bump bullseye. So I'm going to buy that. I might, because I'm buying so little, planning to buy so little, I may buy a luxury fiber bullseye if she has them in rainbow. The luxury ones have cashmere in it, and I haven't spun cashmere yet, so I'm super interested in that. But I'm primarily going to Vogue for the social events, for the socialization of being at Vogue. So I'm looking forward to, for once, going with pretty much no plan and just seeing what happens and just sort of observing. Also, it's my first time at Vogue as a spinner. So I've gone as a knitter many times, but I haven't gone as a spinner. So I'm curious to see what catches my eye when I'm there. What things, that fiber related that I haven't really paid attention to because I wasn't spinning before. What will I be interested in purchasing? So that is my plan for 2020, in 2020 crafting, and my plan for Vogue 2020. It's their 10th anniversary, so I'm hoping, expecting there'll be some really interesting, cool events. I'm sure it's going to be very star-studded. It usually is. It's like nothing like you've ever seen in any other event because everyone who is producing and who can make it, who can afford to come, goes. So it's pretty nice. It's you see a lot of knit celebrities, knitting world celebrities. That wouldn't mean anything to anyone. But yeah, anyway, I have a kind of funny story to tell you about. This is about talking about knitting celebrities who mean nothing to anyone else. One of my dearest friends, the person who owns the house that I go to in the Hamptons. One of my friends who owns a house out there. Sorry, I got like fiber on my nose, so it's kind of itching it. He also is pretty high up at Channel 5 in New York City. And they did one of the shows, Good Day New York in New York City, did a little special where they featured a little segment where they featured Christy Glass knitting Christmas sweaters and talking about knitting and stuff like that. So when I saw my friend this past week when I went out east to hang out with him for New Year's, I was like, oh my God, you had Christy Glass on your show. And he was like, I did? Who's that? And I was like, well, it was about knitting. And he was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. It was very funny. Like, he didn't have any idea. I'm sure, like, because he's very involved in programming, so I'm sure he had something to do with it. Or at least it came across his desk at some point, but I just found it very funny. I was just like, no, she's a really big deal in our community. And he was just like, well, glad you liked that. Glad we had something for your people. Anyway, all right, I need to get going. I need to get a wiggle on. I have a lot of yarn to catalog still, and if you're interested in destashing, if you watch my channel normally and you're interested in my destash, take a look, make me an offer. If you know, maybe buy a bunch of skeins and make me an offer. I'm open to that. Hope that you find something you like. And if you're interested in test knitting anything for me, whether it's this sweater or my other new design, even though you don't really know a lot about it, do reach out to me on Ravelry via message, or you can message me. Yeah, I guess that's the best way. You can message me on Instagram as well. That's another way to get in touch with me if you're interested in that. And as usual, thank you so much for spending time with me and for taking time out of your day to watch me talk about my 2020 plans and everything that I've made from my summary of what I've made for 2019. I hope it made sense. I tend to do sort of stream of consciousness type episodes with very little editing. So yeah, anyway, take care and have a lovely, crafty, wonderful couple weeks of the new year, and I will see you after Vogue. Bye.